This video is a transformed, documented breakdown of a livestream done by Seth Rogers, the biological father of missing child Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. The goal here is not to remix his words for shock value, but to organize what he chose to say in front of an audience and to show it in context. You're going to see his grief and his frustration, but you're also going to see how that grief gets wrapped in harassment, veiled threats, public blame, religious pressure, political rants, and YouTube hate channel talking points. Instead of one long emotional monologue, we've broken this live stream into categories, so you can see patterns instead of chaos. Nothing in this video is an accusation from me about what happened to Sebastian. These are his own words, grouped so you can decide what they reveal about priorities, targets, and the way a missing child's name is being used. Please do not contact, harass, or threaten anyone mentioned here. This is commentary, documentation, and analysis, not a call to action against individuals. The focus should remain where it always should have been, on a missing child and on the choices adults are making around his name. First, we're going to look at the parts of the live stream where Seth sounds like what you might expect from a parent of a missing child, talking about flyers, asking people to keep their eyes open, and rallying Sebastian's army. In these clips, he thanks people for handing out flyers, insists his only goal is to find his son, and repeats that he refuses to give up. At the same time, he starts drawing lines around what is official or proper advocacy and who gets to use Sebastian's name. Watch how often he mixes genuine-sounding appeals with control over the narrative, which flyer is acceptable, which events are proper, and who he wants seen as the authorized voice for Sebastian.
How's everybody doing this evening? Hope everybody's doing fine. Sometimes I wish I could be involved. Let me do this real quick. Over here, mute that. Everybody can hear me fine? I want to thank everybody for coming into my live today. There's been some things going on. There's been a lot of horrible things going on YouTube as of late. Some despicable things. Some of the stuff I'm not even going to address. It's disgusting. Awesome. Thank you. Ellie Power Star, trying to get things. I haven't been on here in a while, obviously. There's several YouTubers out there. I want to thank for keeping Sebastian's name going out there. I know you guys haven't seen me for a while. And I do appreciate everybody that's been handing out flyers, continuing to talk about Sebastian. I continue to ask people to hand out flyers, because that's been my main thing, to ask everybody. Hand out flyers. Continue to talk about him. Keep your eyes open. He is out there. People using my son's name to be a promotion to do something, if they are not speaking with me or my son's mother, and prefer they're speaking with both of us, or if they're doing some type of event that they are having either Katie Lynn Proudfoot or me, Seth Robert Rogers, at the event, people are going to be doing that sort of stuff. Please make sure that you're obeying by the laws. You know, I'm not up for any type of vandalism, violence, or any of that sort of stuff. No trespassing, no impeding people's way to their work, no trespassing on people's property, not interfering with people getting to work, not violating people's spaces, not trespassing on their property. I heard something about somebody doing something on Sebastian's birthday. I have not been made aware of this. I don't know if Katie has been made aware of this, but whatever you're doing, please do not be harassing Chris and Katie at their house. Even if it is true that I heard that they don't even live there anymore and they have somebody else living there, do not be harassing Chris and Katie's neighbors. Yes, Sebastian resided there, but he also resided here. People drive up and down this, take pictures of my house. I've had people come to my house. You come here and you ask for flyers and stuff, and I will give them to you. I do not have a problem with that. Chris does have a problem with people coming to his house. I have flyers if people need them, and I have no problem handing flyers to people to spread that at all. I feel like I need to remind Sebastian's army that when I ask you all to hand out flyers, I'm serious. Hand out flyers. We have to keep our eyes open. We have to. If you stop looking and you stop handing out flyers, then you've given up. I refuse to give up. I have faith that my son is out there. I have faith that my son will be found. I believe it was 3 days ago, I shared a flyer yet again. It is an FBI flyer that I shared to my post. Use that flyer. I do not know why Sumner County does not want the FBI flyer used. It's petty. It's petty. If we are not willing to band together as a people to take care of the problem, how can you help with the movement? You start in your state. You start in your state, and you start in your state. You start with your representative. You start with who represents you in your county. Who represents you in your county? Who represents you in your county? As for Sebastian, share his picture, share his name, talk to people. I tell you what, you don't want to share his picture, you don't want to hand out flyers. You know, Kendra, where would you like to search? If you want to come down to Henderson and search, I mean, whoever. The issue with the U.S. Marshals and the FBI, I am working on that. I am working on getting an appointment with the FBI so I can get in and speak to them about coming in and taking over. It takes forever to get an appointment. I mean, every time you go on there and you see Kash Patel is in the middle of dealing with, you know, the Epstein files and all that stuff that's going on, which I really think they should release the Epstein files. Every time that he's doing that stuff, that means I can't get an appointment. I've been trying to get an appointment with Don Bettino. I've been trying to get an appointment in with them to speak. I've been trying to get in with an appointment with the FBI. You know, the U.S. Marshals have no control over the TBI here or anything else. They can't. The U.S. Marshals don't do investigations. Butterfly Kisses wants to know where I get a shirt. Can somebody? I do apologize. I really haven't been paying attention to chat. I do apologize. I haven't heard from Dog lately. They're not going to sweep my son's name underneath the rug. Oh, yeah, I know. Well, I'm not going to give her any more streaming time. I do appreciate everybody for showing up for my live. I gave everybody plenty of time to to prepare for me to be going live. The thing is while they're streaming me, they're still giving me more airtime. But yeah, I think I'll strike her. She doesn't deserve her channel anyways. She did, honeybees are the only bees I like anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate you all showing up. Together we can change the world. We just got to be on the same page so we can change it. Again, I appreciate every one of you. We can do this. Sebastian matters. We're not going to let the distraction and the hate win. Thank you, everybody. Sebastian strong, Sebastian's army.
Next, we move into a very different tone, targeted harassment and demeaning language aimed at specific people. In these segments, Seth stops talking like a public advocate and starts talking like an attacker. He strips names away and calls Katie's husband this thing, says he thinks he's a man, blames him for the breakup of the family, and tells him he's a despicable waste. He also labels a YouTube creator a hate channel who doesn't deserve her channel, and dismisses law enforcement figures as criminals in badges. Pay attention to how quickly the language shifts from "my son needs help" to "you're not a man, you destroyed my family, and you don't deserve your platform." This is where grief turns into public degradation, and where Sebastian's name becomes a weapon in adult conflicts.
Why is it, Katie, that in order for me to speak with you, I have to talk to this thing that you have decided is your husband now? He had nothing to do with you and I creating Sebastian. He has nothing to do with Sebastian. He had nothing to do with you and I having a son. He had everything to do with us not being together now. Has everything to do with Sebastian not being here now. Has everything to do with you and I not being together. Has everything to do. It's okay with him having everything to do with destroying the family that you and I had. That's fine. That's fine. But why is it that I can't sit there and speak with you about trying to find our son unless I speak to this thing that thinks he's a man? Because let me give you my opinion. Just mine. Just my lonely little opinion. As a man, if any male wants to sit there and look at another man's wife and decide that he is going to take that person from that other guy and court them, which I don't even think he courted you, but if another male is going to look at a female that is married and decide that they're going to take them from another person that's married, that male needs to remember that when he takes that female from that male and that female has a child, he needs to remember that he's not taking just the female. He is also, whatever you want to call him, to ask me that question that he asked. What are you going to do if it goes south within 30 minutes of walking through the front door after he quote unquote gets to Memphis as fast as it from Memphis to your house? Because it's your property, remember? Ask me, what are you going to do if it goes south? That question alone tells me he's not a man or a father. Because no man or father would ever ask another father, what are you going to do if it goes south? Because no father would ever ask another father what he's going to do. Because a father already knows the answer to that question. No father would ask another father that question. And Chris, you already know that answer. It's a shame that you didn't have one in your life to answer that question for you. But you should know the answer. Just by my look. You should know. You're a despicable waste. That's the kind of stuff that leads to... It just leads to me believing nothing that comes out of his mouth. When you sit there and lie over and over and over again, and I start catching you in a lie over and over, and it's not just one lie, it's multiple lies, at which point in time do you actually think that I'm going to believe any of your lies? Brandon. Somebody in law enforcement, you're supposed to represent the badge does not represent you. Catch you in too many lies, you're just a criminal. You're just the person that uses the badge to get whatever you want, which makes you just about as useful as a holy blanket. I don't know what your protocol is in Sumner County for only having one detective on the case, but when you have only one detective on multiple cases, every case is going to suffer, which then leads to resources. How many times? That's just Sumner County. I live in Montgomery County. I've seen what has happened here in Montgomery County. I've seen what this sheriff has done, and he's probably not gonna like what I'm about to say. I mean, his daughter did some really messed up stuff when his daughter did what she did. You took that away from me, Chris. You took it away from me, Katie. You took that away from me. I want it back. I mean, they are so prideful that I'm pretty sure they think that when they go to the bathroom, that the gold industry, follows them and uses their shit for toilet paper. Sure, I'll probably strike Queen Bee for streaming me while I'm live. She doesn't deserve it. She's one of those hate channels. She can buzz right off.
In this category, the tone gets darker. Seth doesn't say, "I'm going to do X." Instead, he leans into veiled threats and ominous hints. You'll hear him talk about what happens if things go south, insisting that any real father already knows the answer without him saying it out loud. You'll hear him declare that this case will never go cold unless he's dead, and then tell Katie she doesn't want him to die because you know what happens then. These aren't straightforward, clear statements, they're implied consequences, the kind of phrases meant to land in your gut more than in a police report. Watch how often he lets the threat hang in the air instead of finishing the sentence.
Whatever you want to call him, to ask me that question that he asked, what are you going to do if it goes south within 30 minutes of walking through the front door after he quote unquote gets to Memphis as fast as from Memphis to your house? Because it's your property, remember? Ask me, what are you going to do if it goes south? That question alone tells me he's not a man or a father. Because no man or father would ever ask another father, what are you going to do if it goes south? Because no father would ever ask another father what he's going to do. Because a father already knows the answer to that question. No father would ask another father that question. Because a father knows the answer without ever asking that question. You have no clue what I'm willing to do to get it back either. I will fight. This will never be a cold case. As long as I'm alive, this will never be a cold case. I'll never let it go cold. Only way it'll be cold is if I'm dead. And Katie, you don't want me to die. Because you know what happens then. I know how they run anyways in Nashville. As soon as I would get arrested and get in jail, there's a good chance of possibility I wouldn't make it out alive. I'd have to live there. And see this person here? If I lived there, do you think that they would not try to have my ass in jail every chance that they got?
Now we move into Seth's accusations against law enforcement, CPS, TBI, the DA's office, and other agencies. In this section, he says his son has been failed by multiple institutions, calls the detective on the case a liar and just a criminal, and accuses the sheriff of prioritizing office renovations over solving cases. He describes broken communication around Amber Alerts and claims departments are competing with each other, not cooperating. You don't have to decide which of these claims are true to see the pattern. Seth is not just criticizing the system, he's building a narrative that almost everyone in authority is lying, negligent, or corrupt. Notice where he's pointing the spotlight and where he isn't.
I have a problem with people in there, in that community. That problem happens to be the sheriff's department. That problem happens to be the DA's office. These are People, I believe, that are not doing their job the way they should have done their job. Because my son has not been found. And I know that they are wanting Sebastian found individually. I would love for the sheriff's department to grow a set and have some responsibility. They have done. Not what they are doing, but what they have done. Or even come out and speak and state that they are still working on it. But instead, they will not even do that. They're keeping it so tight-lipped. I would like to know why it is that Brandon Carter, the one detective on the case, which I have multiple text messages from this person, states that he is the only detective on the case as of now because they have gotten rid of Tim Bailey because he has retired last year. They never put any more people on the case. But I have multiple text messages stating that he's busy in court on other cases, which state that he is not even only working on Sebastian's case. He is just a detective that is working on Sebastian's case, which means he is a detective with multiple cases, and Sebastian is just one of the cases that he is on, which makes you just about as useful as a holy blanket. I don't know what your protocol is in Sumner County for only having one detective on the case, but when you have only one detective on multiple cases, every case is going to suffer, which then leads to resources. You have a sheriff that's asking for multiple resources, and he's asking for more resources to pay his people, but then he's turning around and he's asking the city for $223,000, I believe is what he asked for at the last city meeting, so that he can turn around and rebuild his office. Buddy, you should be working out of a tent to solve cases before you worry about the roof over your head. And you won't even do a proper a proper TV interview for my son. You can't even put his picture up when you sit there and speak about him. You guys don't do a proper scene. My son went missing, and you guys immediately 8 days you guys want to sit there and you call in so many different counties. But the scene was handled horribly. You treat it as a runaway, but you don't even know if it's a runaway or not. How many days did it take for y'all to turn around and get, not public announcement, it's a press conference? Thank you. Sorry, my brain has been running 24/7. The money is there. We just need to make sure that the money is going to the right resources, and we need to get the people out and get the right people in and make sure that things are going the right way. Things need to be redone. There is no reason why the Amber Alert system hasn't been redone. I never got an Amber Alert to my phone for my own son. I never got the Amber Alert for my own son. That's a problem. There is no reason why I took a Facebook lead and called Lebanon for a lead, and they had never heard that Sebastian went missing, and this was after the Amber Alert. This was 2 weeks after. This was after the 8 days. After the 8 days of searching. And I call, and they had never heard that Sebastian was missing. 8 days. This was after the 8 days of searching. And yet, that police department had never once heard that Sebastian was missing. That's a breaking in communication. That means the communication is not complete. That means the system is broken. That means it's not complete. Too much is broken. Nothing is, there's just too much. The police departments are not communicating. Sheriff's departments are not communicating. That means that TBI is competing with other sheriff's departments, which means that even the FBI is not being communicated with. Pray. My son has been failed by CPS. My son has been failed by the Sheriff's Department. My son has been failed by TBI. My son has been failed by the DA of Sumner County. My son has been failed by so many people. I mean, they are so prideful that I'm pretty sure they think that when they go to the bathroom, that the gold industry, follows them and uses their shit for toilet paper. They don't want anybody talking about Sebastian. The Sheriff's Department doesn't want anybody talking about Sebastian. Christopher Proudfoot doesn't want anybody talking about Sebastian. Katie doesn't want anybody talking about Sebastian. That whole family, that whole Sheriff's Department does not want Sebastian mentioned. The issue with Chris McDonough in the cold case is that, again, as long as Sumner County Sheriff's Office won't release or give the case up, I can't get any assistance from anybody else because they won't let anybody come in to assist. I mean, you want to know how upset they were that America's Most Wanted came in? They were so upset that America's Most Wanted came in and did their little TV spill. I'd never heard somebody was so disgusted in my life. Brandon Carter was so disgusted that America's Most Wanted came in. I don't know who called them. They don't need to be coming in here. It's so ridiculous. Blah, 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 blah.
From there, the live stream zooms out far beyond Sebastian into broad political and systemic rants. Here, Seth talks about career politicians, term limits, multi-million-dollar estates, sheriffs and mayors who stay in office too long, and we the people needing to take the system back. He ties missing children and trafficking into a larger story about corruption and failed governance, moving from one specific case to a countrywide crisis. The question to keep in mind is this: who is centered in these moments? Is it Sebastian, or is it Seth's larger war against the system? And how does that shift affect the way a missing child's case is presented to the public?
It's petty, but that's the flyer I'm going to use, is the FBI flyer. I don't understand why Sumner County is a little pissing match with the FBI, but I definitely would trust the FBI over Sumner County. I know that's a big stretch for some people to trust the FBI over Sumner County. In this world, it's really hard to figure out who to trust. But what it boils down to is I have to trust the FBI more than I trust Sumner County. There's a lot of problems, and we need to be willing to actually march our issues all the way to our representatives, our state representatives, our Senate representatives. We need to remember that we are the people. We are the people. Our children suffer every time that we elect these people to represent us, and they don't represent us. They get elected into office, and then all of a sudden they're stealing resources. They're fraudulent. They got multiple $1-million freaking estates while they sit there and they're living in multi-million-dollar estates while they couldn't rub 2 pennies together before they got elected. There is a problem with that, people. There is a problem. It's not the fact that the system has failed. The fact is that we have allowed the system to fail because we have put the people in this position to use that system against us. Because checks and balances are not being used properly. This goes back to economics and government, things that they're supposed to be continuing to teach us. They taught this stuff back in my day in school. And the fact is that we've let it get out of control. It goes all the way back to, how is it that these mayors are still in control? How is it that they continue to get elected over and over and over again? Over and over and over again. They shouldn't be. There needs to, term limits is one thing, but how many terms are you guys going to let the sheriff be in there? How many times are you guys going to allow the sheriff to be reelected? How many times? That's just Sumner County. I live in Montgomery County. I've seen what has happened here in Montgomery County. I've seen what the sheriff has done, and he's probably not going to like what I'm about to say. I mean, his daughter did some really messed up stuff when his daughter did what she did. Whispering Winds, Donna. No one is being held accountable. The reason no one is being held accountable is because we the people, if we do not hold them accountable, nobody is going to hold them accountable. We have to hold them accountable. We the people have to hold these people accountable. We do. Sheriffs are elected position. Sheriffs are elected position. Not every place, but most places, the sheriff is an elected position. The real me, exactly, Seth. The people have to vote them out. You're right. The sheriff shouldn't be useless. Joanne Atkins, the sheriff shouldn't be useless. The sheriff should be the person that's making sure all of his deputies are doing their job. The sheriff should be the one making sure that the corruption has been eliminated. It's been too long that some of these people are in power. We, the people, put them in power, and then they sit there and they stomp all over us. And who suffers from it? Our children suffer from it. And it is time to get people out and get the right people in. The money is there. We just need to make sure that the money is going to the right resources, and we need to get the people out and get the right people in and make sure that things are going the right way. The missing person is the victim. It doesn't matter who finds the missing child. What matters is finding the missing child. It doesn't matter who finds the missing child. What matters is finding the missing child. But yet, police departments are competing against each other and don't pass on the information. And there's a lot broken here. I see a lot that is broken. And it's got to be fixed. Because if we continue to let it broken, then tomorrow there is going to be another parent in the same shoes that I am in right now. And I don't want another parent. And I don't want another child in the same shoes that my son is in. I got a movement. It needs to be an actual movement. It needs we the people to get this done. It can't. Lord help me. To sound like my dad, it cannot be half-assed. If it's going to be half-assed, it can't be done. It's got to be full on. It's got to be full on. Anything worth doing 100%. All the way.
The next category looks at Seth's religious framing and how he presents his role as part of God's purpose. In these clips, he describes Sebastian as a gift from God, references Jesus dying for his sins, and suggests that maybe God is making him suffer so he'll use his voice to speak out. He thanks God sarcastically, "Thanks, God, I don't want this," but still positions his activism and his pain as part of a divine plan. Watch how faith is used here, sometimes as comfort, sometimes as justification, and sometimes as pressure, on himself, on the audience, and on the people he's blaming. The question isn't whether anyone's beliefs are valid, it's how those beliefs are being wrapped around anger, blame, and public rhetoric.
I was there the whole time. You and I created this wonderful being that was gifted to us by God. I have faith that my son will be found, because that's all I have. I have faith in God. I have faith in Jesus. My son will be found. I have faith in God that God put his only son here because I am not perfect. And he put his son here for my sins so that I have something to strive for. And I am here because my son is here. And my son being here is what I strive for. To be here for him. And I am here to find my son. 2 years now. Going on 2 years, and I shouldn't be going through this shit. Shouldn't be going through this shit. Sebastian shouldn't be going through this shit. Me and Sebastian should have been fishing this weekend. I shouldn't be here on YouTube, sitting here speaking to people about what's going on. But maybe that's what God's purpose is. God's purpose is, hey, I'm going to make you suffer so that you will use that voice I gave you so you can get it out to other people. Because your voice can be heard. Thanks God, I don't want this. But God's going to give me whatever he wants to give me, whether I like it or not. Doesn't matter what I want. Because the only thing I want is my son. But you know what? If this is what is given to me, then I will deal with it.
This next section is where the rawest parts of grief and memory show up. Here, Seth talks about the pregnancy, the late birth, the shared birthday with his father, morning routines, and the sound of Sebastian's laughter. He describes little details, running to the bathroom, looking to see if dad is awake, waking him up with tickles, the kind of memories you can't fake easily. These moments matter, because they're real and painful. But they also sit next to the blame and the threats we've already seen. As you watch, notice how often genuine grief is followed, or even interrupted, by another jab at Katie, Chris, law enforcement, or hate channels. The contrast is important.
Been too long. Let's go with been too long. How about it's been too long since I've seen my son? It's been too long since I've been able to talk to my ex-wife about my son. How about it took 9 months, Katie, for you carrying our son, all right, 9 months, over 9 months, because Sebastian was late. It was more than 9 months that you carried him because Sebastian was late. Sebastian was born on December 7th, 2008, and he was 5 days late. 5 days late. All right, 5 days late. So many complications, and I was there with you for every one of them. And I was there with you for the whole pregnancy, babe. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't call you babe. I was there the whole time, Katie. I was there the whole time. You and I created this wonderful being that was gifted to us by God. And Sebastian decided that he did not want to come out when the doctor said he was supposed to come out. He was stubborn before he even came out. He was like, nah, I'm not going to listen to you. Nope, not going to come out. I'm going to stick around. Came out December 7th, which happens to be my dad's birthday too. So he comes out December 7th. Pearl Harbor Day. December 7th, my dad's birthday, and we are blessed with this miracle. Maybe it's just different for me. Maybe it's different because I only have one child. Maybe it's different if you have multiple children. But to me, I think that if I had 5 children and one went missing, it wouldn't matter. Wouldn't matter if I had one gone missing or none gone missing. Gone almost 2 years, gone almost 2 minutes. Missing for 2 minutes, missing for 2 years. Missing is missing. I'm scared to even share stories about my son because I know you hate channels out there are just going to sit there and twist it. And you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I didn't get to see my son. I don't get to see him. Get to hear him. I don't get to hug him. I don't get to make him his favorite meal. Wash my face. I'm just looking in the mirror. It just hits me. Sebastian would get up and he would run from his room to the bathroom to use the bathroom. Then he'd wash his hands and he'd run across the hallway back to his room. And every time he did, he'd look over to see if I was awake when he ran. To see if he would wake me up, because he knew that if he woke me up, that the next thing he would do, he knew that the next thing that I would do, when I would come into his room, and if I woke up, I was going to come get him. And the best way I like to wake him up is I tickle him, because I love to listen to him laugh. There's nothing better than him just laughing. There's just nothing better. You took that away from me, Chris. You took it away from me, Katie. You took that away from me. I want it back. You took that away from me, Chris. You took that away from me. You took it away from me, Katie. You took that away from me. Because if we continue to let it broken, then tomorrow there is going to be another parent in the same shoes that I am in right now. And I don't want another parent. And I don't want another child in the same shoes that my son is in.
Then we shift into the YouTube talk, hate channels, mockery, and threats to strike. In these clips, Seth complains about true crime creators using Sebastian's name while mocking each other, tells them to take his son's name out of their titles, and frames himself as the one truly respecting the missing child. At the same time, he openly threatens to strike a channel that restreamed him and says they don't deserve their platform. This is where the missing child case and creator drama collide. Ask yourself, is this about protecting a child's dignity, or about controlling criticism and punishing people who don't tell the story his way?
I want to thank everybody for coming into my life today. There's been some things going on. There's been a lot of horrible things going on YouTube as of late. Some despicable things. Some of the stuff I'm not even going to address. It's disgusting. I'm confused by what I see on the internet. I mean, there's a child missing, and I see true crime people putting my son's name in the titles of their videos. And they're making fun of other YouTubers. Hey, if you want to do that's all fine. Take my son's name out of it, though. Have a little respect for a missing child. Should be a lot of upset parents out here. Should be a lot of upset parents out here. There should be a lot of upset aunts and uncles. Should be a lot of upset teachers. Should be a lot of upset people. Shouldn't just be me. if I'm scared to even share stories about my son, because I know you hate channels out there are just going to sit there and twist it. And you know what? I don't care. Sure, I'll probably strike Queen Bee for streaming me while I'm live. She doesn't deserve it. She's one of those hate channels. She can bzzz right off. You know? They're not going to sweep my son's name underneath the rug. Oh, yeah, I know. Well, I'm not going to give her any more streaming time. I do appreciate everybody for showing up for my live. I gave everybody plenty of time to prepare for me to be going live. You know, the thing is while they're streaming me, they're still giving me more airtime. But yeah, I think I'll strike her. She doesn't deserve her channel anyways.
Finally, we come to movement framing, petitions, and merch. In this section, Seth talks about petitions that need to be signed and inked to serve the DA and sheriff, describes how he can walk into buildings, hand over paperwork, and even put his name on a ballot. He also advertises shirts with Sebastian's picture and the FBI QR code, calling them walking billboards for the case. Here, he's no longer just a grieving father, he's positioning himself as a leader, an organizer, and a face of a broader fight. Watch how advocacy, political ambition, and merch all get woven together under the banner of Sebastian's army.
Betty's right when it comes to the petition. There is the petition that's online. But the petitions that need to happen are the ones that need to be signed in ink. The ones that I can turn around and take to an attorney and serve the DA's office and serve the sheriff's office. You know, the other day I got up, went to the bathroom, brushed my teeth, washed my face, and I'm just looking in the mirror. It's going to take a joint effort from everybody. It's a battle that I can start. This is not a battle that I can do by myself. I can start it. I can be there. I can be all the way up to the steps. I can walk into the building and I can even be the one that hands them the paper and be like, this is what needs to be done. I can put my name on the ballot. I can do every one of them, but it's going to take we the people. It's going to take everybody. It needs to be an actual movement. It needs we the people to get this done. It can't. Lord help me. To sound like my dad, it cannot be half-assed. If it's going to be half-assed, it can't be done. It's got to be full on. It's got to be full on. Anything we're doing 100%. All the way. Who represents you in your county? As for Sebastian, share his picture, share his name, talk to people. I tell you what, you don't want to share his picture, you don't want to hand out flyers. Where would you like to search? If you want to come down to Henderson and search, I mean, whoever. The issue with the U.S. Marshals and the FBI, I am working on that. I am working on getting an appointment with the FBI so I can get in and speak to them about coming in and taking over. It takes forever to get an appointment. I mean, every time you...
What you just watched wasn't a random emotional outburst caught on a bad night. It was a full live stream in which a missing child's father mixed grief, religion, politics, harassment, veiled threats, movement branding, and YouTube drama, all under his son's name. There are parts of this that are heartbreaking, the memories, the mornings, the laughter he misses. Those emotions are real. But they sit side by side with public degradation of other people, sweeping accusations against anyone who crosses him, and direct talk of striking channels that document what he's saying. You don't have to decide who you like or who you hate after this video. What matters is that you've seen the pattern, how Sebastian's name gets pulled into personal wars, how institutional criticism shades into conspiracy, how we the people rhetoric and religious language can carry a lot of anger underneath. Please don't take this video as a cue to harass, dox, or threaten anyone mentioned. If you want to do something that actually helps missing kids, share official flyers, support reputable search and advocacy organizations, and keep the focus on facts, not fandoms. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is still missing. Adults chose to put all of this on the internet around his name. This video simply organizes it so the public can see it clearly and decide what that says about where the priorities really are.